Hey, my name's Chris, I live in Australia, and today I want to have a talk about the military. Now, just to be clear guys, I'm not a military expert, okay? I'm okay at kind of like looking at budgets and stuff like that and being like, is that worth it, what the government's spending? But today I'm going to have a look at the military. I guess my closest exposure is I'm not a veteran or anything like that, but maybe as a civilian, qualified to talk about what our government's doing. The closest I got was when I was 19. When I was 19, I applied for the Air Force. They had an engineering program to help pay for my university. Going to pay me X amount of money per week to study engineering. Then I'll just have to do a couple of years in the Air Force doing airfield designs and stuff like that for them afterwards. But I didn't get through. Back when I was 19 years old, I was relatively skinny. My BMI was under. I was a tall stick figure. I was like Slender Man. But yeah, so I didn't get into it. I passed everything else. It's just my weight was off, and as well, they said, yeah, you're young, you're coming in as a lieutenant entry position, and you know, your leadership skills aren't quite there yet as well because you're too young. They ran through some, questions like, there's late at night at the mess hall. Everyone's having too many beers, and they've got to be up for drills in the morning. How are you going to manage it? And I couldn't quite answer that as good as I could now as a 19-year-old. But anywho, we're talking about nuclear submarines today. $360 billion being spent on nuclear submarines. I just want to run through a couple of facts and then an alternative that we should be looking at instead. So let's understand the deal as it is. Okay, so Australia is going to be buying some Virginia-class nuclear submarines from America. It's going to cost us $360 billion. So that's split across 5 different submarines. Only 3 of them, though, are Virginia-class submarines. So Virginia-class submarines, kind of state-of-the-art subs right now. But Australia is not building them in Adelaide. I know that a lot of the news was saying we're building a nuclear submarine thing. Yes, we are, for the last 2, which I'll touch base on later, but the first 3 we're buying, staggered out over the years, are hand-me-down subs from America. So it's Virginia-class submarines that are already a third of the way through their effective life that we're buying from America. So they're not new. They're not new, they're not state-of-the-art cutting edge or anything like that, not new stuff coming off the rank. We're buying stuff that's already, 8 to 10 years old on the first one, then another one will come through 8 to 10 years old, and another one will come through 8 to 10 years old, and we're going to be buying them over the next, 15 years until we get across to the new types of submarines, which is the SSN class submarines, or the SSN AUKUS or SSX over in America be built in parallel with each other. But they'll be in the 2040s that we actually start to build the submarines then. But until then, we have hand-me-downs coming through from America, and the entire program is going to cost $360 billion.
You get a Toyota, those motherfuckers go forever. I have a Toyota Land Cruiser. I have a 1995 that I drove here tonight. Yeah. I love it. They will go hundreds of thousands of miles and not fuck up.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but I would not want to be in our Navy right now in a submarine with, another 100 crew or something like that, when everything is shifting across to unmanned vehicles. So there's unmanned submarines coming through, there's unmanned drones, unmanned jets coming through. They're all coming off the production line. In fact, Australia's got 2 right now. So we've announced the Ghost Shark, which is an unmanned submarine, and we also have the Ghost Bat, which is an unmanned plane to support our fighter pilots up there as an extra accessory vehicle to assist with strikes. But both of these are strike-capable vehicles, unmanned though. But I would not want to be in a submarine, in a manned submarine, when the entire future we're looking ahead for is unmanned attack submarines operated remotely or via AI. I do not want to be underwater in that. And that's the direction it's all heading. We're seeing that war in Ukraine with Russia as well. Most of the fighting right now is occurring with drones. Drones strapped, bombs strapped to drones, and they're just remotely flying them around looking for soldiers and flying the drones down, and Bob's your uncle. You can piece together what happens from there. But it's all moving across with technology. It's all moving across to unmanned vehicles. So the Ghost Bat, the fighter jet that's unmanned, that's going to cost us $1 billion for each one. And then the Ghost Shark, which is the unmanned submarine, it's going to cost $1.7 billion for each one. So when it comes to the money being spent, 360 billion for 5 manned submarines, or would you rather see $360 billion spent and you buy 100 unmanned submarines and 100 unmanned jets, and then you still have $170 billion left over from that $360 billion budget? Or that $160 billion difference, not only could you get 100 unmanned subs and 100 unmanned jets, have $160 billion left over that could solve the housing crisis in this country, give a decent pay down on our national debt right now, and it could probably pay for a lot of other government programs too. Or it could just not be spent, and we save some money. Yeah, we don't have to keep raising the budget higher and higher and higher to pay for this stuff. But just in perspective, is it worth it? Leave your comments down below. Is it worth it? I understand that the Virginia class right now is the best of the best. And sure, it comes armed with Tomahawk missiles, which has a strike range of 2,500 kilometers, which gives a decent strike capability for Australia at this point. But, you put them on the unmanned ones. Like a lot of people don't understand to an extent Australia's military capabilities. When I talk about fighter jets as an example, you probably imagine like a big aircraft carrier and you've got jets flying off and landing on and stuff like that. Well, Australia doesn't have that. We haven't had any aircraft carriers since the 1980s. We have not had the capabilities to launch jets out at sea since the 1980s, not to receive jets out at sea since the 1980s. It's all land-based jets, all based off airfields that we've got to launch and land back on. We don't have any aircraft carriers. America's got aircraft carriers, China's got aircraft carriers. We do not have aircraft carriers. We have not had it for over 30 years now. So without the capabilities to be able to head out to sea with an aircraft carrier and launch jets and strike out at a foreign enemy in a combat situation, without the capabilities of doing that, without our allies, of course, I'm sure America will be like, yeah, come on, load your planes up, let's go. Sure, they'd love that. But without them capabilities, we got to think of Australia as a porcupine. Our country here, we're a porcupine. Anything gets too close, there's a threat to us, well, we get the spokes out, don't we? So long-range ballistic missiles, our ghost bats, our ghost sharks, anything in the water to protect our shores, and plus our fighter jets that can launch off our shores. We've got to think to defend Australia, put Australia first on our military, not to focus on, say the Virginia class submarine. That's a long range submarine, go very far away and get into enemy shores and stuff like that. But is it worth it to us as Australians to have the capabilities to get into enemy territory, to launch strikes onto other countries? Or is it worth it to us to just be able to defend our shores and our area around us and our direct neighbours and allies, New Zealand and a couple of the islands around us? Because if you start paying attention, our Prime Minister is playing some games right now overseas. He's going around to every Pacific island trying to cut deals with military, defence strategies and military, I guess, for us to be able to occupy or work with them in war situations. And he's writing $500 million checks left, right and centre. Solomon Islands, they decided to go with China. Vanuatu, you've got a $500 million check written. They said, oh, hang on a second. We want to see what China's going to bring to the table. Who else? Papua New Guinea has got a $500 million check and a Defence Force contract saying that we can operate out there, but we also get their soldiers able to join the ADF. And if they join the ADF, the Australian Defence Force, then they can become citizens eventually. So he's cutting these kind of deals with island countries around us. He's trying to get as many on board as possible. We have the United States turning around and they're saying for Australia to increase their Defence Force budget. And, the NDIS has just exceeded the Defence Force budget now. I think the Defence Force budget was around 50 billion and NDIS just went to 51 billion. So we're spending more on the NDIS than we are on defence currently. But $50 billion is still a lot of money. And if we're increasing the budget, well, it doesn't mean much if we're blowing the money on stupid stuff. We should be spending the money as effectively as possible. I'm not saying the military don't know what they're doing, of course, but I'm just saying, would you rather 5 submarines, manned submarines, or 100 jets for, half the price, roughly? which is better? Which serves Australia's interests better? Do we want to be a defensive country that defends Australia and our surrounding islands who have less defence and military capabilities than we do? Or do we want to become an offensive country who have capability to strike into other countries? These are the questions we need to be asking, and these are the questions we need to understand from the leaders of this country. What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Are we spending too much on military? Are we spending the money wrong? Are we spending the money 20 years behind on, the thought process to the current technology that's available right now? Should we just drop this 5 submarine deal with America and focus on building 100 unmanned subs and 100 unmanned jets instead, and then still have $160 billion left over? What are your thoughts? Leave them down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.